This Kirblog's on Steven, talking about Steven, you. It's terrible, but it's better than I was almost gonna do fucking, who's the little girl in the haunted mansion, and then go into what's the use of feeling blue, and then Scott would have just hung up on me. Not that he hasn't already.
I would have gone with something with the take a moment and think of just.
I already did that last time.
Oh, yeah, didn't you?
We did that, yeah, dude. It has been a while. It has actually been a long time. We did our last.
It's been a while, but I feel like it hasn't been that long of a.
No, well, because we did. So the last Scott is here. Everybody say hi, hi, Scott, hi.
I'm Scott.
Fuck. The last time we did a Steven Universe catch-up Kirblog was after the summer of Steven, i.e., last summer, and we're just now getting into the next summer. So it has been a long time. I think it was back in. Like September of last year, maybe.
Might have been.
That's about right. Yeah. So and that was our intro. Was Here Comes the Thought. And now we have lots of other amazing songs to talk about, and lots of other amazing, holy shit, crazy ass plot points with which to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. This show just doesn't stop being good at any point. Like, I can't believe we're literally we just got into the beginning of season 5 with this last little batch of episodes. Kind of sporadically, we had a little bit throughout the end of this past year, just like a few more extra episodes, and then we got right into the like just practically from the get-go. We've had like pretty consistent updates in the past few months with Cartoon Network, so quite a bit. So, start off with, was the first of that. A very unusually unexpected thing for a show like this was what I believe was the series' very first holiday special, or at least something in close equivalence, was Gem Harvest.
Yeah, Gem Harvest. It's a Thanksgiving episode, though they never mention it by name because in this universe, they just don't seem to actually have holidays,
or at least not the traditional holidays like as we have them.
Yeah, they don't seem to have Christmas, or maybe they do, but they don't have Thanksgiving. I don't even know if they have Halloween.
Well, it was funny because a lot of my friends were like so expecting there to be a Christmas special for the show at some point, and like the fact that they did a Thanksgiving special first, and the fact that it was like only kind of in spirit a Thanksgiving special kind of says like a lot about the show, because like a lot of modern shows. I wouldn't even say
in spirit; it's everything but flat out saying it.
Well, because I think what I mean by that is I think of like what was Chowder, another good Cartoon Network show. They did a sort of Christmas episode, but it was not Christmas by name, but it was clearly like this is the winter holiday special that has all of the tropes about giving and being together with your friends and family on this blessed day or time or whatever.
You know why they couldn't do a Christmas episode for Steven Universe?
Why?
Because the gems would have probably met Jesus Christ. Try to explain that one.
They would have tried to explain that one to your children. Well, I'm sure a lot of people probably have without the gems in mind, but. I actually really liked this episode a lot more than I was expecting. I really liked Andy as a character.
Yeah, Andy's great. Even if it's just Carl.
which I can't fucking believe it took me until literally the end of the episode, and you know me with my like superpower of just like, oh, that's so and so. I was like, who the fuck is that? But admittedly, Zito would be so ashamed of me. I did not follow a lot of the Adult Swim William Street shows as much. So I know David Wills, I know of him, and he's fantastic, but it took me until afterward to be like, oh, it's fucking Carl, and like half the characters in Aqua Teen.
The entire episode, I was just waiting for, what are these gems doing in my freaking barn?
He was like really good, and like he was believable in all like the dramatic shit and like funny in the good shit as expected. Like, and it's funny because I mean, and I'm not just saying this because also Andy ended up like coming back later in like a more plot relevant episode or whatever. In general, just like his whole story and his kind of like weird dynamic with Greg was interesting. Like, it got pretty real for a while, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. Because honestly, I was kind of expecting it to be a little more, I don't know, I guess grounded in terms of just like some basic kind of stuff or whatever. But like, and also a big reveal of, hey, by the way, Steven has a real last name that isn't Universe.
Yeah. It's never brought up again, but DeMayo.
Yeah, which is like,
DeMayo.
I mean, I don't even know what origin that is, but that's just such a like.
I think
it
just goes along with the food stuff that a lot of the other ones have.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I can't prove this. I don't have any like insider information, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that probably all the food pun things are probably Ian Cordy's fault because he's like big into Dragon Ball. So,
oh man, honestly, there's so much taken from Dragon Ball. I wouldn't be surprised for a moment if they were like, "Aha, food puns for names."
I didn't even think of the Mayo thing. I just thought DeMayo sounded like is it like Italian or like Grecian or something? I don't even know. Like, but
yeah, I think it's supposed to be a food pun.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I loved about that character in general and his relation to the rest of the characters. We needed, so that guy is obviously, his character is obviously a bit of an analog for an older generation. People who don't understand, millennials, liberals. Like, he even talks about, hippies and stuff.
Yeah,
and, you couldn't even marry an American girl. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. I'm very, that really paints that character as this person who's a little bit older, a little bit more conservative. And the good thing is they easily could have just made him really one-dimensional and not explained where it came from. And even worse, they could have made it all unfounded. Some of it is just flat out like he needs to get over some shit. But there's other stuff too. Like they fuck with his barn. They fuck with his his old livelihood, stuff that belongs to him. And all the gems are like whatever. It was just a pile of junk, and it wasn't junk to him. It was important to him.
It's so funny, too, that you're making me realize, I mean, maybe at the time I was watching it, I had this thought, but to think of, oh, actually, this is pretty close to real Thanksgiving when you see family members from other parts of the country or the world who don't all exactly see eye to eye, and those kind of discussions come up at the dinner table.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
And at the end, they all recognize that they're family. They're all connected. And it's good. I think it was a story that we needed.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't too ham-handed. I mean, it was certainly ham-handed with the, I'm thankful, making the Thanksgiving analog.
Yeah. It was a nice little quick stint we had, because the rest of 2016 was pretty dry in terms of episodes. The last new one we had was one I very, very much enjoyed, 3 Gems and a Baby. These kind of, I think we talked about, I'm sure we must have talked about some of the stuff in the previous ones we'd done, but something I'm growing to really, really appreciate with each of these seasons is the whole thing of learning more about the backstory of, these flashback episodes when a character will tell Steven a story because it's all meant to be through his perspective. Mm-hmm. So in this case where Greg is the one telling the story, very, very sweet, and this trope of an episode has been done in every fucking cartoon in existence. That gotta look after the baby and don't know what you're doing all that much, but the fact that it also informs a lot of what the deal was with Greg and Rose Quartz at the time of just this life is fucking weird, and also I have a child, and also my wife is gone, and I mean, inherently just the fact that I'm alone and taking care of this kid as a single parent with the 3 other bird mom and square mom and purple mom, who none of them of which understand how the fuck to do this. It's and also I gotta say, on another note of the Dragon Ball type thing, I don't know if this is necessarily what the joke is here, but the fact that the same actors play the baby versions of themselves now with Baby Sour Cream and Baby Steven are both their older actors. Yeah. That's some Masako Nozawa shit if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
It's really interesting to me because you only get to see small snippets of everybody's past. God knows that just watching them all freak out on how to handle a human baby I feel like that could that went in a crazy direction, but it was good to see even Garnet completely out of her element. No idea what she's doing, because Garnet's always that character who's like 100%, at least most of the time, has things handled.
Yeah.
Also, great to see some of the old character designs back. So
that's true.
We get to return to those, and I mean old character designs in the color palettes, and not old character designs as in season 1.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's funny too. I'm remembering how a lot of people were really kind of pissy about the changes to the designs in general. When the show first started, because compared to the pilot.
Oh yeah, I like the pilot designs more than I've ever liked the series designs. Even if the series designs are a little more streamlined, but that being said.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that plight. I mean, my opinion is always I take the higher ground, Scott. My opinion has honestly always just been I get that these are simplified so that animating an episode won't take 30 fucking years and have more people to complain about, why does it take so long for the episodes to come out? Oh my God, That said. So we had this, and then at the start of the year, we had this big, crazy ass, holy shit, multi-part arc of. By the way, everybody, here's Blue Diamond.
Blue Diamond.
Quite a very, very, very interesting character that even in the most recent set, which we'll get to later on, but very curious to see, and that she's like, I am one of the major antagonists, and I am so incredibly, I feel so sorry for you, and are you going to be okay? And she's a warlord and can just with a word probably decree somebody to be killed. If she wanted to.
Well, it's sort of interesting like that because she does not seem to be a bad person.
No.
By and large, she actually seems like a good, benevolent ruler. Part of it, and we get a shades more of that later. I mean, she steals Greg, but it's not in this kind of malicious way. It's I think you're interesting and I want to keep you around because this whole planet's gonna all you guys are gonna die, but I'm just gonna save you because that's what Pink Diamond would have wanted. We've been hearing so much about and we've had a lot of theories shattered. Sorry, did not mean to do that. Did not mean it. I promise. But nonetheless, we've had a lot of theories broken regarding. What the deal is with her, despite the fact that we still don't even know what she looks like or really what she was like exactly. We know a lot about Rose Quartz at this point, but still little to nothing about Pink Diamond other than just the impact that she had on these other very majorly important characters. Well, the funny thing is, I feel like we barely know anything about Rose Quartz. We just know more about her than we know about the diamonds.
Right.
But it is learning more about Blue Diamond and her relationship with Pink Diamond. At first, it comes off as very sisterly. Like they were family. They were a family. And they would never let this kind of shit happen. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that later.
So I guess to start with the human zoo arc. With this little. Actually, I guess worth pointing out. So I auditioned for Y6 a long time ago, and there was no context on what anything was going on, so I didn't have any spoilers. But just I saw there's this other human character, and it's the new character. Okay, that's interesting. I was without obviously telling anybody anything about that. I was just in the back of my head thinking I wonder how he's going to fit in and what that's all about or whatever. And then this comes up, and we have these almost like Starfire from the old Teen Titans cartoon, a whole collection of people that are about as technology and life is wonderful, and I don't know anything about anything type of character. And also, by the way, shout out little cool cameo Christina V tossed in there as one of the human zoo people, and also the it is time for the choosing voice with the little earrings that they have. Steven rocks those earrings, by the way, I must say.
Yeah,
really works for him. This was really cool. Kind of, I mean, of course, you get a bunch of new gem characters, which is always super exciting. And confusing for anybody who wants to Google search them, because God knows a billion people have already made fan characters with every possible existing precious gemstone in all of humanity. So it's like, Holly Blue Agate. Oh, that's not one that somebody's done yet. My God, what a concept.
I'm really enjoying the variety that we're seeing here, especially when we get later on. But yeah, no, I love the variety and all of the different gems. I love that. I do think it's good and it's appropriate that all of the gems of a cut, like all the cuts of a gem, are voiced by the same person.
Yes, yeah.
I actually think that was appropriate, and as like part of me is like, well, that's kind of lazy. On the other hand, I'm like, no, that makes sense. It would actually be weird.
It's actually super clever. Yeah, no, I wouldn't even say it. I mean, it's not so much lazy. I mean, from the perspective of like budgetary things, it's certainly cost effective, but I think it's extremely clever that it's like, yeah, it's all the same collective like sub race of well, no, not even like a sub race. I mean, like, you know, the life form of a gem and then the different races of that, I think is more appropriate to say. Yeah. But no, I think if anything, I was very taken aback by that, because like I feel like not a lot of shows like think to do that sort of thing, or even really have like opportunities to. So I found it very clever, and it was cool also to see, excuse me, a lot of these actors getting to kind of do different versions of their. I mean, like, you know, a lot of them are you know, like Dee Dee Hall. And Michaela Dietz and Estelle, like they're pretty much just doing their own natural voices for the Crystal Gem Trio, you know, but kind of like these interesting sort of takes on the other iterations that come up. It's like it's funny to see that, like it not just from like a novelty perspective, but like you know, all these like the whole you know, locker room of fucking Amethyst soldiers.
Oh my
like,
God,
broing it up and all that.
That whole scene is so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love the amethysts. The amethysts may be like, well, amethyst may be quote unquote worst gem. I love her cut. I love all of those purple fuckers.
Yeah. Purple fuckers. Not all.
Yeah, not all purple, but
and then we have Skinny mixed in there, the little
Jasper.
Yeah.
Skinny
I was
Jasper.
like, oh. How about that?
Well, Jasper, as we know, Jasper was the finest cut. Like, she is the prime Jasper.
Yeah.
So that was like, to see Skinny Jasper, I was like, that's great.
Well, also on the note of that too, seeing like you know, because of course, as you know, this whole society and culture of this planet and these gem characters, like all the different ones have different purposes as they're created. You know, like the pearls are assistants, which, you know, even early on when Peridot was making all the comments about how like, you're just a pearl, you fetch their coffee or whatever, you know, equivalent of that, and they don't drink unless they have to, unless they want to. But and then with amethysts, like same thing, Peridot commending her on that. But you're an amethyst. You're a badass like go-getter soldier type, and then seeing the badass soldier amethysts and how they all have that kind of dynamic with each other. But even then, when they like bend to the will of somebody with a higher rank, like this Holly Blue Agate, who's just like this prim and proper, you know, boss manager that you don't want to fuck with ever.
Holly Blue Agate was one of my favorite new characters, and I just love her delivery for if you want something done right, you do it yourself. Like,
God almighty.
Like, oh man. And I just love the fact that she, like, the amethysts are the ones that save them, because they're like, they get treated like shit by this lady. But at the end, they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, if you ever treat us like shit again, we'll just tell Blue Diamond what you did. I'm like, oh my God. When fucking Pearl's like, oh God, when she tells her off and then pokes her on the nose, I'm like, oh my God.
But what, you know, it's funny too. This is worth pointing out, because I don't think we talked about this in the last one. You know, elephant in the room, leaks happen. It's been rampant with a lot of these shows. It's a bummer, but you know, for better or worse, it's just a thing. But something I've found quite clever, and again, no insider information, but this is just an observation. the episode titles.
Oh, God damn it.
You know, well, because look, so no matter what happens, like leaks aside, when a show when any kind of TV show has new episodes on the horizon, the episode titles usually go out somewhat early through like TV Guide and things like that. And so you can usually see, okay, this is what this episode is going to be called. But a lot of these shows, I know this reminds me of when Korra was happening at the time, where a lot of these shows, what I'll say, had to kind of get clever with keeping the element of surprise in the air. With anime, there's no fucking like anything. I just recorded, I don't know when it'll be coming out, but I recorded a Kirblog with a friend of mine about a lot of the DBZ movies, and we joke about the titles of those and the episode titles, where it's just like, here's what happens in the episode. Such and such happens, and this character dies. It's like, oh, thanks, good, really appreciate that. But with these, it seems like they're very like vague enough, but also like intriguing enough to like get you thinking about like, oh, like what? Oh, okay, like I don't know what that's about, but curious. And then when you see how they fit in, it even I'm watching. I just finished Jessica Jones, and every episode of that is a quote from the episode. That will be all. In seeing that was the one I was the most like, huh, what the fuck is that all about? And it's how they go out.
Yeah.
Pearl being a sassy little
bitch. Yeah, no, when you have titles like Last One Out of Beach City and Gem Harvest, what are you supposed to think?
Yeah. And then they're the complete opposite of what you're thinking. And then something like That Will Be All or
the Zoo.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, filler episodes with the villagers. Like, oh no, it's the complete opposite of both. Like, it's also clever as fuck. I can't help but like commend that. Like, right. It's truly amazing. In fact, well, actually, the new Crystal Gems is another clever case of that, but that's kind of the next set of episodes. We'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
Before we move on to that, I want to talk about, of course, the big holy shit Disney villainous song in that of Yellow Diamond, which, let's be honest, the second she showed up, everybody was like, she better get a goddamn song. Which, duh.
Well, that's not the first thing I thought, but when the song started, I was like, yeah, okay, no, that makes sense.
I had seen people for a long time being like, Yellow Diamond and hopefully the other diamonds need to have some kind of Disney villain-esque kind of song. And sure enough, I mean, I don't know if that was necessarily what the inspiration was, but to me it felt very much like that sort of thing. Of course, the Pearls doing backup was adorable. Yeah, this one was a big highlight. What did you think of this one?
Actually, you want my honest opinion?
Not your favorite?
Here's the thing. When I first heard the song, I actually didn't like it. Because the way, the tone that it, like, I understand what they were doing with it. And when I went back to it later, it was a lot more effective. And this is going to, like, I think the song works better in a vacuum. But when it's in this scene with her walking around and moving, the sound effects, and the fact that the instrumentation is actually anemic, where I feel like it needed to be bigger, her voice needed to be carried more. It honestly just didn't work in the scene. Now, I've gone back to it. I've listened to it a couple times all on its own. And I've heard people do covers of it that I actually liked more. And she is a professional singer. Like, I forget the name of the actress, but she is wonderful, fantastic. Love her as Yellow Diamond. She's a great singer. But here, it just, like, that minor tone, the very somber, like, feel to it, it just... I love the idea, and again, it worked better, like, it works better as a song as a standalone, but in that scene, it was weird and just didn't jive with me the first time I saw it.
Again, that's fair, yeah.
It's grown on me, and I love, and especially in retrospect, the meaning of the song.
Oh yeah, no, that was the big thing I got right away was what's the use of feeling, blue. Of like, okay, all right, which, and especially because later when we see, the, I'll say disagreements or not quite seeing eye to eye between Blue and Yellow Diamond, to see this kind of, I'm and that she's almost kind of taking advantage of Blue Diamond's seemingly more, I don't want to say innocent, but like nicer personality. I mean, because I can't say innocent because she knows exactly what she's doing when it comes to the fucking human zoo, which is like, that's not cool. That's not an okay thing to do at all, please. But I know what you meant when you were talking about that earlier in terms of she doesn't seem villainous like how Yellow Diamond is this very coarse, like, I want that planet to die sort of thing. And she seems like this very, like, type A personality to Blue Diamond's B, haha. In kind of just like, no, just listen to me. I know what's best, and etc. And that seems to come to a head later. But no, I totally. I mean, even in regards to like the fully musical episode from a while back, like that kind of thing. Sometimes it can be difficult to just sort of like, I don't want to say suspend your disbelief, but just like, okay, now we're into musical mode because the characters are breaking into song, and depending on how the scene is executed or like what the tone of it is, like I can understand why, like, at first glance it was like, oh, this is a little weird. But I felt like it was a big highlight. I'm very, very intrigued to see what I think will be bigger, grander, holy shit type songs with the Diamonds later on, because I think there's probably a good chance that'll happen.
Yeah.
I
do hope there's at least one more song with the Diamonds before things wrap up. Yeah.
I guess moving on now to the back to the villager stuff again. This next set of episodes. Stay with me, fool. So we had another little set of episodes from through February and March. So yeah, I was gonna say another funny example: the new crystal gems. Like, oh my God, are we gonna have like new characters, or what's gonna happen? Which, funnily enough, later we kind of do with Ruby. But in this episode, we just have the fucking Barn Brigade and Connie, and also Pumpkin, our favorite adorable mascot character, having a fucking crystal gem makeshift adventure with the car wash.
Yeah, that was neat. I mean, you want my honest opinion? Not an episode I really enjoyed.
That's fair.
And that actually comes down to, and I feel like this is a good place to talk about this. Okay. Lapis Lazuli.
She's got problems still.
Well, not just in terms of like, how do I put this? Lapis Lazuli and Peridot both have a problem right now. Mm-hmm. They're fantastic characters, but they're being wasted. Every time they show up, they don't really add anything to the story anymore. They're kind of just background characters, and they deserve so much more. Because I love gay, my gay aunties who live in a barn, but I need that. Like, if they're just going to continue to not add to the plot at this point, I kind of wish we'd stop returning to them, because Lapis's cold demeanor is starting to become kind of annoying, if I had to be honest. And while Peridot's always a blast, she's a blast when she's, involved, not just kind of being there.
Well, here's my kind of devil's advocate to that, and a lot of this has to do with what might be, to come in the future, but this is from the perspective of, like, overseeing a big world of characters and, where plot threads are going, and just kind of, putting my own sort of theory into that. But sometimes with shows like this, where you have like a big universe of characters to like sink your teeth into, and you kind of have to compartmentalize them into different things. So having Peridot, Lapis, and then eventually the one of the Ruby Brigade, and also Pumpkin.
Ruby Brigade.
Off into the the joking new crystal gem. It's kind of like what Teen Titans did. Funny comparison, but with the Titans East group, where the ultimate, I think, goal of those characters, I think actually that's a workable example, is okay, later on when we're going to need like wider amounts of forces beyond just the main group of characters to like help us with a bigger battle that'll require more firepower, we're going to need our friends that are off on this other area. So I think that the bigger purpose that is probably going to be saved for those characters is when, okay, now we need like everybody that we can possibly get on our side for this, big, great catastrophe that may or may not be happening. And in the meantime, I can understand not liking the episode, but what I think is important about these episodes in general, which is why I usually am a defender of the like, you know, the townsfolk of Beach City and beyond type stories, is that it's still about developing them and making you give a shit about them, so that when they later end up doing something that is like more relevant to the plot or whatever.
But here's the thing, I do not give a crap about Ronaldo. I will continue to not give a crap about Ronaldo. I especially won't give a shit about Ronaldo when he basically becomes a a fake social justice warrior. Like, oh, I'm one of you guys now. No, you can't appropriate this shit. God, that was so obnoxious too, because the idea was, oh, he's appropriating their culture. Like, he was being racist, and now he's trying to, he's overbearing, and oh my God, Ronaldo's already a terrible character. And that entire episode, I was just like, wow, this is just.
And yet, no, dude, that episode, I probably tweeted about this at the time. I know I did. I remember this. That was to me, that was the best use of Ronaldo in the entire fucking show. That whole episode, I thought, was so goddamn poignant and so well done. I loved it. I loved what it was saying.
Commentary, satire, or what? But
I think it was I think it was all that. I think it was.
But I don't want it to be, because it was so obnoxious. Like, I don't want it to be commentary. Satire, sure, but not commentary.
I mean, I think it was because it was probably a little too real.
Maybe.
Because like, I don't want to dwell on this topic too much regarding like the fandom or whatever, but I mean, with seeing how a lot of these things have happened with, with the people who enjoy the show in varying ways and in varying capacities, I think that an episode like this was actually pretty important, to me anyway. I don't know. I thought that this was. Because, look, a lot of these other Villager episodes, I can understand why people are not a big fan of them if they're just like, this is the lesson of this thing. And it's like Tiger Philanthropist.
Tiger Philanthropist is a mistake.
And yet I know a lot of people who are wrestling fans that totally got what they were saying with that and really liked it a lot. So,
But that's the thing is, I like what they were going for. I even liked the episode for the most part. But it was just so, like, the problem I have with Tiger Philanthropist is that it comes out of nowhere.
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. When Tiger Millionaire was season 1, wasn't it?
They had, like, a couple of the wrestling episodes kind of scattered throughout the show.
They've only had one wrestling episode.
Are you sure? I feel like I remember a couple of them.
Nope. Tiger Millionaire.
Oh.
And then Tiger Philanthropist. And 3 seasons later, and oh, by the way, remember that they're still doing this, and it's like, oh, well, that's neat. And then suddenly, she just doesn't care anymore. And it's like, it's really weird to do this. Like we've switched. First of all, we just got back from fucking Steven being stolen into space. But no, let's go back to the fucking wrestling. Which, by the way, I love the whole wrestling stuff. I don't mind that. As a guy who doesn't actively kind of dislikes professional wrestling for a lot of reasons, none of which to do with the fact that it's not real wrestling. I don't give a shit about that. It's mostly more the stuff that happens behind the stage. But as a guy who doesn't even care for wrestling, I loved Tiger Millionaire. And Tiger Philanthropist would have been great if it had been in an earlier season. But here, it's just so awkwardly out of place. The world has changed. Bigger things have happened. And while I don't want Steven to stop having fun in his day-to-day life, it's just really weird that we went right back to that. And then, of course, Rocknaldo. Storm. And then that also came after Storm in the Room.
Well, I want to get to that and the Line 4 episode in a minute.
We'll talk about let's cover the townsfolk stuff first.
Well, regarding the townsfolk episodes too, I don't remember how much of this kind of stuff I talked about last time, but part of me also maybe wonders if so when they get to these little segments in between the more holy shit plot heavy stuff, when they have we got 5 or 6 episodes to do some of the filler episodes with the Beach City folks, right? I do wonder about if maybe they have a collection of different ideas that they can do with It reminds me actually a lot. I'm surprised I didn't make this comparison first. It reminds me a lot of in Hey Arnold, where you have Arnold and Gerald, and Arnold and his friends from his class, and Arnold and his grandpa, Arnold and all of the the boarding house folks, and the other people on his street, like the butcher guy and all that stuff, and some of the other characters that are even more removed. And there's like 8 billion, or each of the different families of the individual kids. You could do an episode about fucking any character in the entire like Hey Arnold universe, and they did like so many different combinations and etc. I wonder about, I don't know if this was the case for Hey Arnold, but I do wonder about if maybe like the Crooniverse has like a collection of different ideas for episodes, like with different characters from Beach City, and then just kind of like, oh, well, we have time to do, like maybe they even had this episode like earlier on, like, oh, now we have time to like toss this in here with a little bank of episodes that we have to like just, tie some time over or fill out the full season of 26 or whatever it is. I don't know that for sure. Maybe that might have been a reason why.
Ultimately, you can tell that they have, okay, so these are the amount of episodes like that we have to tell the story. Basically what they do is they probably see, okay, what story are we going to tell over the season? And then they are like, okay, and then how many episodes do we have left after that? And they probably want to balance them out with townsfolk episodes. I'm very sure that it, like, if you take a look at it, if not an even split, then it's still going to be, plot relevant episodes, more plot relevant episodes than townsfolk episodes. Mm-hmm. That being said, though, it just feels like sometimes, I get that they want to tell stories with the townsfolk, but when it comes to a show like this that actually has continuity and a storyline that is this big and this important, it is so awkward to consistently be brought away from those things so we can go deal with the pizza girl.
Oh my god. Somebody, did you just slam the door in anger about fucking pizza girl?
No, that would be people in my office going in and out. Don't mind them.
Oh, well, they're not part of this, so fuck them all. No,
I mean, trust me, I love a good end of Evangelion reference as much as the next guy.
Made a pizza.
Yeah, no, I loved that. I thought that was great. I was like, oh my god, they're making an end of Evangelion reference. That's fantastic. Although, speaking of references, another reason that Tiger Philanthropist kind of wavers for me is that the entire thing talks about, is nothing but meta-commentary on plot lines. And how people experience characters and their perspective on them and what they want to happen with them. Nobody likes a Gary Stu. Nobody likes it when they go out of character. And here, like, that was neat, but it's like, what is Steven Universe doing making satire and commentary about this of all things? Like, using it as a catalyst or as a story using it as a catalyst for a story, I understand. But full-on meta-commentary on wrestler, the dynamics of professional wrestling? It just comes off as, I wouldn't say inappropriate, but just, I don't know.
Well, it's different. I mean, look, it's like, I think if I had to guess, because I didn't follow Naruto, like, for as long enough, I think, to, like, get this feeling, excuse me, massively, but, like, and now we're in filler hell with Naruto for a year. Here we go, and we got to and not that it's even remotely that long or anything at all. Like it's usually like here's like 5 or 6 episodes of the townfolk stuff. Like, but it's probably that kind of feeling, I would imagine, right?
It's usually 3 or 4, and it's not like we don't get to learn more about the characters and the universe doesn't get a little bit more fleshed out. And that's one thing I do like. I do like how a world builds. I mean,
well, especially because in the middle of these, we had Storm in the Room and Lion 4, which were all just pure Steven and Rose Quartz stuff, and him figuring things out about his mom that he may or may not be very happy about.
Yeah. And oh man, speaking of that, we'll have to get to Storm in the Room and those stuff here.
Okay.
Because I'm eager to talk about that, and I can continue going on about these fucking townsfolk episodes all day, and keep pissing people who really enjoyed them off. Like, look, I actually...
Like me!
Hey, look, I liked Tiger Philanthropist, I just felt like it was awkward and out of place.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Storm in the fucking Room then, okay, yeah?
Okay, so Storm in the Room. Whoa.
Illusion Rose Quartz was weird and creepy. Okay.
Yeah, and probably gave some weird people boners.
Ew. Okay. Well, either way.
No, Storm in the Room. Storm in the Room is pretty interesting. Although I will say this, bringing up a lot of really big issues and then kind of resolving them in 11 minutes is not something I'm a fan of that the show does.
Well, that we've talked about in every one of these. I mean, that's just, once in a while we'll get, these kind of all in a row arcs. Sometimes we'll get the hour-long episodes. Ow.
Sorry about that.
And sorry about that ding. I agree. I mean, sometimes that happens, but I don't know. I think this one still had like enough room to breathe with what it was trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't as bad. I found this out. Apparently, some people really don't like. What was it called? It was part of that. Remember the singing episode? Was it Mr. Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember Mr. Greg? Found out some people don't like that episode.
Why?
And Pearl's song.
Huh.
They felt like she'd gotten over it all. They said it took...
I feel like they were going back on it.
Yeah. Like, and I think what I've heard is that they keep referring to Rose's sword and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Like, she's gotten over it. And I honestly didn't see that. Like, not with Greg anyway. Like, I didn't see that.
No, I don't think anybody was, I mean, it hadn't been that long in the grand scheme of, like, how long the show takes place over. So, no, I wouldn't have thought that anybody was like, oh, yeah, I'm over it. It's like, especially in the in the midst of all the crazy shit that's constantly happening in their lives. I mean, no, I fully believe it still made sense. I don't know what the deal is with that complaint.
I 100% thought, like, yeah, she's probably not over it with Greg, of all people. Like, maybe she's accepted that she's dead, but why would she, like, I just did not expect her, like, because she consistently treats Greg up and down, like, inconsistently. Like, some days she's better with him, some days she's worse. Some may call that inconsistent, but I always felt like that was appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, this person married and was the only person that Rose Quartz ever loved completely.
Mm-hmm.
In that way, although she very well could have loved Pearl, but she settled down with Greg.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It made sense to me. And I think people have gotten so used to, like, well, it's the end of the episode, so that conflict is settled. And I'm like, no. And I'm really glad that conflict wasn't settled. And, and that's why, oh, my God. The worst example of that was Sworn to the Sword. What an amazing episode. Brilliant song. Great ideas. Oh, but by the end of it, oh, yeah, she's over it. She's done. She's good. She's fine. Mm-hmm. No. What the hell?
Yeah, I think that what it really is, if you really want to break it down, I think it's more of just that, like, okay, here is, a step on the way to maybe resolving whatever the deeper issue of this is, which, and especially, it's so complicated with Rose because we're constantly learning these new, very important things about her as a person, about her history, before, during, and after, her involvement on Earth. And I think that kind of continues the, like, even if you think, oh, well, now this is, reached this point, but it's like, yeah, but it's not over. I mean, that's also, okay, this is a weird comparison, but hear me out on this one. It's why I liked what they were doing with Toy Story, with the 3 Toy Story movies, where every one of those movies is, like, talking about a different problem, or not even, I don't know, well, Toy Story, I think, because, like, I think that comes to mind first because I remember, like, a lot of the crew talking about how we didn't want to just tell the same story over and over again. We had to do something different and unique that made sense as they continue along each time. But I think that any, like, long-lasting, like, film franchise or series where it's like you have these kind of, like, sub-arcs of, like, well, now we've, addressed this issue, but now, this opened up this new thing, or, like, now I still have to, like, maintain this thing in my life, and that's not fucking easy to do. So life continues to go on. It's like if you accomplish this goal or this thing in life, that doesn't mean that life just stops because, you know, we're taking a break in episodes or whatever. It's just like, no, we still have more shit that we have on our plate that we got to worry about. And it's like, okay, well, my mom makes me feel weird and I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah,
you know.
I love that has been a consistent issue. One that is, okay, like, oh man, can't skip ahead, but it's about to get a whole lot weirder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, okay. But, so, Storm in the Room, really good episode. Great to see Steven's inner conflict with his mom come center stage and instead of just being something that is a consistent, you know, underpinning problem.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm actually glad that happened. The deification of his mother being, like, just shattered, yeah, I know, was something that I was happy that the show did. And it's interesting to see it really, again, being more complicated than you'd think. But we'll leave that for now, and let's go into Room for Ruby.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I love this episode. I love it so much.
Super fun. I love the rubies. I'm happy to have one of the less asshole-ish rubies on the Titans East equivalent for the gems. Yeah, just a quick, like,
Titans
fun,
East, that's
nice
what they
episode.
are. By the way,
Yeah.
you're right. Titans East, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah. This is a fun one. It's nice to have, like, these kind of collection of other cool characters kind of off in the waiting in the wings for when all this shit happens. So I don't have much to say about this one, but no,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
This was a good use of both Lapis and Peridot. Although, again, I'd like them to be more involved with the main gems. But, yeah, I was super happy with that. And one thing, oh my god. So, the moment they introduced her, I was like, wow, I guess we're going to have another Ruby around. That's really interesting. Nope. No, like, the show does something amazing and actually makes the one Ruby who seemed like just flat out a good guy is maybe the most conniving and evil of them all.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, guys, way to go. Way to just turn that on its head. And the ending, oh my god, the ending, not even just her, like betraying them, but Lapis's response.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
It was good. It's a good episode.
I love it.
Yeah. Did this make up for the new Crystal Gems episode for you, I guess?
Yeah, by and large.
Okay.
And again, the new Crystal Gems episode is actually probably fine in general. Like, again, it's one of those things where it's not badly written by any means. It's not something I don't like. It's not something that I disliked watching. But it was at the end. At the same time, by the end of it, I was like, well, that's another week that I have to wait for, you know, the plot to continue moving.
Yeah.
And again, Lapis's behavior is getting a little much. I'm okay with her being sarcastic and a little bit stoic. But she needs some either real development here, or she needs to be brought back into the plot proper. Also, a real aside, real quick, that reminded me. So something that not a lot of people might know, when it comes to production and voice acting. Sometimes you don't write a character into an episode because it's going to cost money to do so. And if you can just avoid having to pay that actor altogether for that episode, you just don't do it.
Yep.
So it's like, I could give this character a line, or I could have it implied that they found out what they needed to know, or I could have a seriously awkward, one-sided conversation from Steven and Connie when he tells her, we're leaving Earth, bye. Seriously, at the moment I saw that, I'm like, oh, hey, Connie? Yeah, no, we can't pay your actress for this episode. We're already kind of pushing the budget. Well, don't worry. I'll be back in a couple, and you'll have an episode all to yourself, okay? Okay, I gotta go. Later.
I mean, well, there was also a great joke, and I don't think we pointed this out, but
this joke was amazing.
The earlier episode with Sardonyx and the line from what the hell was it? What's the fusion of? Not Alexandrite.
Sardonyx is she was
the purple one played by Nicki Minaj. That one, like, because can we just use that archive audio? We don't have to pay them, do we?
Yeah, they use that as like, she's not actually in this. We don't have to pay them, do we? We do.
Residuals, hooray!
Yeah.
They're a thing.
By the way, it's Sugalite.
Sugalite, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to Lion 4. Lion 4.
I didn't know what to expect from Lion 4. Lion 4 was weird.
Lion 4 had a very like heartwarming and hilarious ending.
Yeah.
in that it was such a fucking like, I don't want to say troll because that sounds like inaccurate, but like in the fact that it was like almost kind of like a bait and switch, and then it's like, oh, that's sweet, and also that's fucking hilarious in that it's not what anybody would have expected, I think, at all. So
yeah, because when she started talking about Nora, I knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, that they made 2 videos, obviously.
Yep.
So yeah, no, that made sense. I just didn't expect it, and it was so interesting. But at the same time, I feel like the only reason that episode even exists is to help Steven deal with his existentialism.
Yeah.
Like, what is my purpose? And then I like the message, which is you're supposed to be you. That's the entire point. You be the best you that you can be. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's good.
I guess now we move into these 2 little 4-episode mini arcs that we had. So first we have the end of season 4. These 4 in a row.
If you want my honest opinion, I swear to God, this just feels like these 4 episodes, or 8 episodes, I should say, feel like the end of the season.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm not entirely sure exactly how, like, in terms of the production stuff, how they're split up, because we got the 4 episodes that were the opening of season 5 immediately after these were, or almost immediately, like a couple weeks later.
Later the month.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's how it was originally meant to be set up or whatever, and then now we have no idea when the next batch of new episodes are going to be coming out at all.
Yeah.
Until way later on. So I'm not really sure how it works, but either way, yeah, no, these 8 in a row definitely were all very much like together because they happened like in the same span of time pretty much.
I love how this one starts on a townsfolk episode.
Yeah.
It is 100% a townsfolk episode until about 2/3 of the way through when shit starts to get weird.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like, we knew instantly that it wasn't actually Onion.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, none of this makes sense. None of this adds up. And so, I was really curious, and they set the atmosphere really well. And the episode itself is fine. With Doug's actually a character that I don't dislike, so getting to see him a little bit more was nice. Crispin Freeman being the most natural we've ever heard him.
Get to just listen to him for 11 minutes. He's nice. Yeah. He's a good guy. Then with the good Lars, where I
love the good Lars.
I do too, and I think that there's been pretty good usage of Lars and Sadie.
Yes.
And also the cool kids in a lot of these recent Townsfolk episodes.
The cool kids are being used very sparingly, and when they're used in a group, they're the best. Mm-hmm. Individually, they're not that interesting. As a group dynamic and characters that kind of like, I like them better when they're all together because then it justifies their existence.
Right. But even Lars and Sadie, just like them individually,
Lars and Sadie. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's okay. I think that I totally agree with that about the cool kids. I think that Lars and Sadie, both individually and then just the 2 of them with Steven, and then now with them and the cool kids, like, they generally have been having pretty good episodes. I think that Lars is succeeding where, for most people watching the show, Ronaldo has been failing for a lot of the viewers.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is sad to say, but
it's interesting because I thought I was going to hate Lars, but you know what Lars brings to the table that Ronaldo completely misses? Real human elements.
Yeah.
Like, he's obnoxious, he's an asshole, you want to hate him, but he's so human. And
Bingo bungo!
Yeah, and there are those moments, especially with Sadie, where he's such a dumbass, but he actually cares about her. In fact, he cares about her more than anybody else. He's just terrible at actually understanding that and showing it and following through on it. And in the good Lars, we see one thing about Lars that is legitimately good. Like, that he's good at anyway. Something redeeming about him. A talent. And he's afraid of it. Mm-hmm. And in that episode, like, I love Lars and Sadie because I've said I love their dysfunctional relationship. Because it's so, like, I've seen that shit. Two people that make each other better, but are also terrible for each other. It's so interesting.
Yeah. And I mean...
Okay, he's terrible for her. She's too good for him. It's this constant him trying to be better. Constantly just not good enough. Even though he does improve.
Well, I mean, especially because this episode I was like rooting for him, where it's like, okay, cool. Like I think, you know what, them getting trapped on the island and Sadie using that to her advantage made me like feel for Lars for the first time, where it's just like, oh wow, you were the one who was like in the right this time. And then like I think that leading into this one where I'm just like, all right, I get you, and like and some of the other bits like him and Tiger Philanthropist, I'm just like, all right, I am capable of feeling for you and you know, wanting to root for you in this situation, and also completely get this whole like but baking you know, and then like fucking throwing it out. I was just like, oh god, I've been there. Oh Jesus.
I love the bait and switch they did, and we'll talk about that a little.
Let's talk about it now. Fuck it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. Well, no, because here's the thing. We got to talk about Aquamarine
and Topaz. Two very fun new
Topaz
gems.
Doesn't know what Topaz would do without Topaz.
Okay, another one of these examples where I gotta fucking give them credit, not only for the episode title, but for the trailer.
Dude, that trailer is so good.
Oh my god.
Both the trailers, actually.
Yeah, just having that clip of the "Are You My Dad?" where it's just like, okay, we get it. There's probably going to be a new gem character or two. And then the usage of the whole "my dad" thing and what that turns out to be. Probably one of the most like clever meta things and in-universe things that the show has ever done.
Absolutely agreed.
Just a tiny little like what the fuck ever type thing that was just like, oh my god, that's brilliant. God damn it, you guys.
Well, first of all, let's talk about Aquamarine in general. Brilliant.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah, creepy as fuck. At some point, somebody thought a British orphan would be perfect. And I'm like, it's so
for a villain.
It's so good. Who's her actress?
Oh god, I looked it up. She's done something else that I know of. I think she was in a video game. I can't remember though. Either way,
she is spectacular and so creepy and such a bitch. Yeah. Such a total bitch. And I was like, and I love how like she comes off so innocently at first, and she doesn't even feel like a fake innocent. Yeah. Like you see that maybe she could be creepy, but you don't expect her to be full out malicious. Della Saba.
There we go. Thank you.
But when she brings it out, and I remember we watched these episodes together.
Yes, we did. That's right. That's right.
We watched them together on Skype, and it was great because you pointed out my dad is Greg. You called it instantly. You were like,
I forgot.
It took a little while. It wasn't instantly, but you figured that out. And it made the moment you said that, I'm like, yeah, but why?
I did not guess the thing about the Steven listing off the people to Peridot and all that. But my dad being Greg, like, so I put something together about that somehow when she was going around asking people, like, just, I forget what it was, but it just like hit me. It was like, fuck, that's what it is. Oh god. Oh no, they're trying to get all of them. Oh no. And,
then finding out that it was Peridot's report, I was like, oh my god, that's so good.
By the way, another little fun shout out, just because I'm going to be a piece of shit and I've gotten to know her and work with her. Kate Flannery as Sadie's mom, the mail woman, a little cameo by her who was, oh, I forgot about her. And I forgot that was Kate Flannery. Yay, I like her. So anyway.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great. Yeah, and then, I mean, again, whether or not this was like all in a row or intended to be split up or whatever, I got to say, we were spoiled by the fact that we got the next set of 4 episodes immediately after, because if this was the season finale, like always intended to be the season finale, and then we didn't get another set of episodes like so soon, and we had to wait as long as we did until like, you know, the beginning of this year, my God, that would have been torture.
Well, you want to know something? And this goes to show you that they either don't know what they're doing or they do know what they're doing. You know, long story short, in these episodes, Steven gives himself up to save everybody, except Lars, because Lars is a coward. And it's a great scene, and it's really dramatic, and that's how season 4 ends, which is kind of crazy. Like, it's like, holy shit, what is Steven going to do? How is Steven going to get back? So, starting up with the next season, those 4 episodes, when they aired, were some of the highest rated episodes in the last several seasons.
Yeah?
Yeah. They hyped that shit, and people watched.
Yep.
Because they were like, holy shit, like, 2 bombs in 1 month? That's crazy. And people fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And it was a great bomb, too. We'll talk about the quality of the bomb in just a moment. But, yeah, it really makes me wish, like, these bombs are great ideas, especially for these arcs, because, man, multi-parters, dude, they are so rough. They're 11 minutes apiece, and we have to wait a week between them. It's so...
Or sometimes only just, like, a day, depending on how they release them. But they've been good about, like, kind of banking them up. I think it's better that they have these all in a row like that. It reminds me, actually, you know, going back to the kind of Dragon Ball comparison again, you know, we were, like...
Spoiled.
I don't even think that we know how lucky we were back then to have DBZ episodes set up like a strip show, and that we would have 5
Monday
episodes
through
a week. Yeah, like or sometimes even Friday, I think.
Maybe, I can't remember. I think it was Monday through Thursday, though.
But having like multiple episodes per week, as opposed to now where, you know, not just with anime, but with most new episodes for shows, we would get 1 a week. And not that that's bad, but with a show like this, where it really, really benefits from having like either a bunch all at once or a bunch in a row, or bunches in a row like they did with this, because we had, you know, the first 4 with, you know, right before he gets taken to Homeworld, all in one thing, and then we had the little mini Homeworld arc, which we're going to get to in a second, pretty much like, what, 2 or so weeks after that? And it's like, here it is, and it's like, oh, fuck, okay. Like, so, but even again, for this cutoff, just even this little break or whatever, like, Steven going off and giving himself up, great way to cut it off, I felt.
Yeah. And of course, oh man, I don't even know how to talk about these 4 episodes. These 4 episodes are the most different the show has ever presented.
The Homeworld stuff you're talking about now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, you know, let's put spoilers for this in case you haven't seen the latest bomb. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening an hour in by this point, for fuck's sake, you have to have seen it.
There's big stuff that happens in these, though. Like, really big stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off, of course, with the trial. Which, first of all, do you know the Zircons? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we started off with Stuck Together, I guess.
I was about to say,
No,
it's okay.
with Stuck Together. Stuck Together was neat, if not only because Topaz is... I love the stuff with Topaz, like...
Unexpectedly adorable. I was like, oh.
And I love how it plays with the trope of, like, even Steven mentions, like, wait, but, you know, aren't you sure that you don't have something emotional deep inside that you want to let out? You know, maybe you don't want to be this evil person and kidnap us. Maybe you were just misunderstood. No, not even. And Aquamarine's fucking line about, see, this is the problem with fusions. You always grow sentimental. I'm like, oh, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, you bitch.
This was a good setup, I think.
I feel here's the thing. I feel like Aquamarine is the full, like, evil version of Peridot.
Like if Peridot like went to like full on
if the first
never had her Vegeta moment.
Yeah, if Peridot stayed the Peridot we met, this would be her.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think so.
So,
but still has her own, like, you know, and they could have just done that. They could have just had an evil Peridot, another one, and we didn't get that. We got a different character with her own kind of flair to her, which was cool. So
Yeah, that's true.
the trial, yes, Zircon is motherfucking Princess Carolyn.
Yes.
Which I did not get until another one. I was like, who is that? And then I looked up later, like, oh, motherfucker, Princess Carolyn.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even connect it. But when I went back to listen, I'm like, oh my fucking God. It's okay. If anybody hasn't seen Bojack Horseman,
please do yourself a favor.
Watch yourself some Bojack Horseman.
Yeah.
Those first 6 episodes are going to make you wonder why you're watching it. The last 6 episodes of the first season are going to make you never want to stop watching it. I assure you. Like, the show starts deceptively weird and not that interesting, kind of on purpose, because it wants to lure you into a false sense of security. But no, anyway, so yeah, the Zircons, great. I love them. I love both their designs, and I also love, cubic zirconium. They're not diamonds, so I like that, the Zircons. Them being lawyers is kind of perfect.
Again, like, really clever use of different, like, roles for what these characters do in the society that they're, like, a part of and everything, and, like...
And there are rules. Like, they have rules, like, they have a trial. Even though Yellow Diamond is eager to just kind of be like, fucking whatever, just kill her. Blue Diamond is steadfast in making sure that this trial is seen through. And the reason why is so crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
So
and
yeah.
And the fact that, like, later, of course, we know exactly why Yellow is trying to hurry things along, in the fact of, like, crap, they can't be so smart enough to put 2 and 2 together on what is illogical about this, and, like, oh shit, that happened. Oh no. God.
The great part is it makes sense in any case why she does that. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, I wouldn't want to sit around and have I wouldn't want to put up with this either. I would be like, no, she killed or she killed Bean Diamond. Let's get this over with. I don't want to sit around here all day and have this obvious traitor defend themselves. Kill her, and let's move on.
Well, it's interesting because the Blue Zircon is almost kind of this, like, hybrid of the two mentalities of Phoenix Wright and Miles Edgeworth, in terms of, like, the spazzy Phoenix Wright type personality, but with the desire to get to the truth, regardless of who is the guilty or innocent, type of drive of, like my diamonds, I know this is fucked up, but this don't make no sense. Chewbacca is a Wookiee. That don't make any sense. Yeah, and then also another great ending of just like, oh God, oh, what's happening? Oh, everything is awry. Oh, the diamonds are fighting. Oh, we have to leave. Oh, we're gonna die. Falling down a goddamn ravine. So then we get into these last two, where now another introduction of a whole bunch of really, really cool gems. All very varied, very different, very crazy ass, very relevant gems to what's happening with these characters.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I love all these characters except for one.
Which one?
The Sapphire.
Oh, well, I mean, I've seen a certain video in my feed a lot about analyzing that character. I don't know if you want to go into that necessarily.
I mean, you know what? I'm sure all these characters represent different things for different people. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, the joke runs old quick. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, we get it. She says what's already happened every time, but maybe not every line.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of both half a joke and half, like, its consistency with a very real thing about this character that is not necessarily really a joke. So it's like, all right, I mean, it's harmless. I think I understand the intention of it, or what at least I believe to be the intention of it, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But
she's inconsequential though, in terms of my not liking her, because I
she's
think
very cute.
She's adorable, and
yeah,
it's not like I hated her. And while I might have grown old with her, she wasn't around for that long, so it's not like she really detracted my enjoyment of the episodes all that much. I'm just saying, you know, out of all the characters who have personalities, I'm like, you're a gimmick.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that necessarily, but I get what you mean of just, like, not being super, like, enthused. Another little couple interesting cameos. The Real Tile Twins, played by the fantastic Ashley Birch, who I've also been working with a lot on OKKO. She's awesome.
Which, by the way, I didn't even tell that was one person. I thought it was two. Ashley Birch, you magnificent bitch. You're so good.
And a very interesting, very unexpected one. I didn't even realize that this actress moved to the U.S. The voice of Rhodonite was Anuka Okuma, who, Scott, I believe you've briefly heard as the Canadian voice
that is her!
Of Android 18.
Yeah. See, I looked up that actress. I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, that's neat. The moment you said her freaking name, though, I was like, oh, shit, that's 18.
Canadian 18.
Yeah, the Canadian dub of Dragon Ball Z past, you know, the fucking Frieza Saga stuff. Like, holy shit, yeah, that's her. God damn.
Yeah, she was great, too. I was like, oh, wow, that's not a person I expected to hear in the show at all. But, yeah, and actually another little funny fact that I didn't know until later, apparently, according to, I think that there was, oh, that's right, there was some kind of, like, event, I think it was to do with the soundtrack release, where Rebecca Sugar was doing a Q&A, and apparently, I think it was during that, maybe, or it might have been something else, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it was revealed that Rhodonite is a fusion of a pearl and a ruby, which I didn't even realize, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what this character is, based on the traits that they've been given and everything. That's cool as shit. And then Fluorite, which was this, like, 6-person fusion. We did not watch these 4 episodes together. I watched this with someone else later on. Yeah, this was cool. And then, of course, you know, not just the addition of them, but the usage of Lars in this. A breaking point, a boiling point, even with Lars and what has been happening with him now. It was blowing my fucking mind what was happening with that. So, I hope I haven't lost you, Scott.
No, I'm here. Sorry. I was actually just, I had to respond to something real quick. I apologize.
Oh, sorry. That's okay.
No. But no, it was, sorry. So, Rhodonite is like, wow, That's fascinating.
Yeah. I don't know if that might have been just like, well, we may not be able to have another opportunity to do this otherwise, so let's have a character that is a what if of this, maybe. Who knows? But it was neat. I was getting into the stuff about Lars by the end of that. I don't know if you wanted to say anything else about the other gem characters. But.
Man, that is my God, that is crazy. Yeah, I'm taking a look at it. But yeah, that's a pearl and a what you call it?
And a ruby.
Yeah, a ruby. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened there. No, I really want to know what happened there.
It seemed like they teased a little bit about it. I don't know if we'll get to know too much more about that later on, but...
well, we will. We might, considering Lars is now trapped there with them.
Yeah, and also he's pink, and also he's
kind
lion.
Of a lich.
Yeah.
Lars is now a lich, so that happened.
Yeah. This was entirely fucking unexpected, this last bit of what they did with this. Incredibly fucking cool.
I can't believe Lars is fucking dead.
I can't believe Lars is fucking alive and is pink and is kind of like lion.
Yeah.
Is lion.
Which, by the way, I love how Steven doesn't even like, he just looks over and like, so this entire time you poor thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Zombie lion. Cool Zambo lion.
Zambo lion, best lion. I don't care if he's a Zambo. I love him.
Yeah, he's the best.
Sorry, I love Lion. Lion's actually one of my favorite characters in the show, and I am so psyched that we found out what the fuck he is.
Yeah, and that he's not Pink Diamond.
Who thought?
A lot of people thought Lion was Pink Diamond.
A lot of people thought a lot of things. You know, the one that I thought was the most, like, the theory that I thought was the most reasonable was that, you know how Pearl can, like, make little projections? Mm-hmm. I thought this was, like, a full-on projection that she made before she died, and you know, it just continued to live on. Why could fucking Rose Quartz make liches? Why can she bring people back to the death and make their hair portals to another world?
I mean, I don't know.
Why is this very specific power a part of her repertoire?
Maybe she was too dangerous to be kept around. Who the fuck knows? Either way, it's fucking amazing and super cool. And
He's now got a badass scar.
And now I'm so glad that through these last several episodes I've been led to adore Lars. Well, maybe not adore Lars, but like him very much as a character at least. And
oh yeah, they've finally made him less of a piece of shit. Like he is now officially on the level with most of the other characters in terms of reasonable, good human being.
And now he has a bigger, more important purpose for being involved with the story as well. So, man. But yeah, and so now we end with the beginning of season 5 with Lars trapped on the fucking homeworld with a bunch of new characters that thankfully are nice people. And Steven's back, and now we got to figure out what the fuck we're going to do next. And we also got to figure out when the fuck new episodes are going to come out, because we have no idea when that will be.
Okay, so can we talk about one big thing?
Sure.
Yellow Diamond murdered Pink Diamond.
Mayhaps.
Yeah, mayhaps. It's not said, but it is heavily implied.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that they're building up Yellow Diamond as, like,
the big bad.
The villain, yeah. I mean, because we still know absolutely nothing about White Diamond, if they're going to be, like, the bigger evil behind the evil or something completely separate from any of that entirely.
The thing is, I have a theory on White Diamond. Mm-hmm. I think White Diamond either was a fusion of them all, or is not even, like, in terms of a personality, she is not... I think she's more of a force. I think she's kind of like this omnipotent force in the background. Because, you know, in the, if you'll notice, there's a White Diamond silhouette in the background. Mm-hmm. Like, a huge one. Yeah. Like, I'm not sure what, like, White Diamond is such a mystery. Like, completely a mystery. Mm-hmm. But I think White Diamond was supposed to be a fusion of all the other diamonds.
I don't necessarily think that she's a fusion specifically because she has been shown around with the other characters, like, alongside them, and there were four diamonds.
Yeah.
So
I mean that might also be true. It's just who knows? Yeah. Like, it's so weird. We know nothing. Like, with the other diamonds, they've at least been mentioned by name. White Diamond hasn't even been mentioned by name.
Yeah.
So
oddly, at this apex, this is a weird section where now I got nothing in terms of what to expect or what to theorize about. I mean, like, you know, I sprinkled a couple things in there throughout this discussion, but I don't know what's going to happen next. I have no fucking idea if we're going to move most of the story to Homeworld, if we're going to go back and forth a lot now because Steven has this portal with Lars. That might be the case.
I feel like it'd be weird if we didn't.
If we didn't have which of those?
If we didn't go back, like, it's kind of crazy. I don't know how they're going to resolve this, and there's a lot of ways that it can go, and it's kind of awesome. But, you know, wait for the next episode to be all about Jamie, or another Ronaldo episode, or maybe we'll learn the deep dark secrets of Onion.
I don't know. I feel like kicking off right after this, they're going to be at least having to figure out, okay, what the fuck are we going to do now?
Well, I think one of the big things is that the first thing Steven needs to do, like, I'm sorry, he should have done this a million years ago. It actually is frustrating that the show continues to do this shit of having Steven not ask rudimentary fucking questions. Like, hey, maybe you should ask how the whole murder of Pink Diamond went down. Aren't you a little bit curious about why your mom did it? Like, no one's talking about the why. I'd want to know why. I'd want to be like, well, why? Was it to save everybody? Was it a big moment? What was it?
Yeah.
Because now, apparently, they probably didn't see it happen.
Well, if anything, too, I think on that same note, I think that what we're going to get next, if I had to theorize, is probably some more episodes just with the main cast. Because you think about it, we haven't had a whole lot of focus on, like, the main cast for a while now.
Actually, this whole season we didn't, if you'll notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, this whole season we didn't get a lot of focus on the main cast, and that was fucking weird. So, please, I am so begging, because, you know, they're listening to this podcast, you know.
Yeah, totally.
I'm begging the Crewniverse, focus on the main cast for a little while. Please, tell us what happened, because I think it's possible this is the last season, dude.
I don't know about that necessarily.
It's pretty up and down on whether or not we're getting a 6th season.
Well, I mean, it's still going fucking strong, so who can say?
The ratings aren't doing as well as other shows on Cartoon Network. And
Steven Universe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
And not to mention, this show is incredibly difficult to show in other countries.
Really? Oh, well.
Yeah, all the lesbian stuff, and not to mention the language. See, the TV PG out here allows for a lot of things, and in other countries, this is like supposed to air as a TVY7, so they have to censor a lot of things.
Yeah,
and some countries just come flat out removing the like, oh my god, like a lot of this stuff is changed really heavily in like Middle Eastern countries. Oh shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would foresee this still going on for a good while. I think, you know what, actually, here's what I'll say, too, to that, Odd. I will say that everybody should go buy the soundtrack.
Yes. Oh, my God. Okay, first of all, buy the soundtrack because it's all, like, remastered music, but support this fucking show. Especially since, for some reason, I can't get Blu-ray season sets. I don't know why. I can't, though. I'd really like to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if there's any, you know, fear of that still, I mean, there's been, you know, a long time ago, I remember people being, like, worried about that. But, I mean, the same thing I say back then, I say now, you know, support with your dollar. You know, buy the soundtrack. It's amazing. Also, because I love Ivy and Steven, and they deserve your money.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and the whole crew deserves your support. So, yeah, I mean, legally support everything as much as you possibly can. Remember that the Cartoon Network app has got all the shit, all the episodes on it. You know, do whatever you can for that. And, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a season 6 and maybe more. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's going to wrap us up. Went for an hour and a half.
God damn it! No, I want to talk more about the assassination of Pink Diamond. That shit's crazy. Like Steven's got to tell them, by the way, my mom didn't do it. Which then raises a lot of questions with Bismuth. Like, so many things.
Oh, Christ in heaven. Well, which means, hey, maybe they might be like Bismuth. We're going to take you out of the bubble. Tell us what the fuck is going on.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. I need to eat something. It's late and I'm fucking starving. So, Scott, thank you for joining.
You're welcome.
Me for this.
Thank you for having me on. I love talking about this dumb bullshit that I love.
No, thank you. No, I'm always happy to do these with you. This was fantastic. We got E3 coming up very soon. We're going to be talking about a lot of Vatarogram shit and things that I want to buy for the Switch. So look forward to that. Probably as the next Kirblog at some point.
I need to give a Switch.
And otherwise, I mean, you know, people know where to find you and all your shit. But do you want to plug your things again as usual?
Hi there, I'm Kaiserneko of Team 4-Star. You might know me from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. You can find it at Team 4-Star on YouTube. Also, check out our gaming channel, TFS 2 Saiyans Play, or TFS Gaming. You just type that in too. And yeah, we got a website at team4star.com. If you like Dragon Ball, you'll love us. Maybe.
Yay. And also follow him on Twitter at Kaiserneko and other things.
Yes, I am on the Twitter at Kaiserneko. That's Kaiserneko.
And I'll probably be doing lip flaps for the next episode of your fucking show very soon.
Oh, yeah, you are.
So, oh, God almighty. Anyway. Scott, thank you. Everybody in the comments below, give us your thoughts, favorite episodes, favorite moments, favorite new characters, favorite theories of crazy shit that may or may not happen in the future of Steven Universe as we look forward to whenever the fuck Season 5 will continue. My God, that was a lot. I'm going to go eat food. Look forward to probably my E3 reactions and thoughts or whatever the fuck next week, and possibly an interview with a very cool video game-related person that I may take some questions on Twitter about if that is going to be continuing as planned. We'll see what happens. But either way, lots of cool stuff happening this month. Look forward to it. I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye.
Man, I can't wait to see you get Hideo Kojima on.